Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are having had a great weekend, and I also hope. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a great weekend, and I hope that you're having a good Martin Luther King Day weekend and really giving some thought to the great things that Dr. King did for this country and how much the country has changed in a positive way, even though we're struggling today. So, we should probably jump right into the questions that we have for this morning. Our first question is from Alana, and Alana writes, during COVID, a lot of new players have entered the online beauty industry. With that being said, they have price cut like crazy. Any ideas on how to navigate the new playing field and still make a profit? I've had to follow suit and lower prices for now to get enrollments. How should I best compete with lots of competition? Online certification of beauty courses. So my understanding is you're selling online beauty courses, and like anything else, what differentiates you from the market? Because if you have to lower your price to get people, it's really not telling individuals what it is that you're doing differently than everybody else. If you can remember that Steve Jobs, when he was selling his products like the iPad, iPod, whatever they were always like triple the competition. And he was able to differentiate in terms of design, style, and the quality of the product itself. And there were lots of people producing iPads out there. In fact, there were tons of generic ones that were like a quarter of the price of his. None of those exist today, and really he and the Kindle are the only players. So essentially, even though money is always tight when you're a startup and a small company, you really have to think about what are they getting that they can't get anywhere else. And that's what makes me unique and why I should be able to get people to sign on. Because if you're competing just on price, there's no way that you make it for the long term. You end up being crushed because somebody else usually has more money than you do. And so again, pick a target market that you think will be interested in what you have to offer. Differentiate yourself in that market by providing certain types of content that they're not going to see anywhere else, a different type of training, a different type of thinking. And then go back out there in the market, because again, you'll be throwing a lot of good money after a bad, all because you really can't compete just on price. Nobody really ever wins that battle. The next question comes from Jenny Dawson. Jenny writes, should I switch from an LLC corporation to a sole proprietor? My business was originally set up as an S Corporation suggested by my CPA. At the time, I was running the business as part of a time hobby while working a full-time corporate job. I'm now looking for ways to cut back on spending in my first year as a full-time entrepreneur. I spoke with my CPA to weigh the pros and cons of staying as an LLC versus switching to a sole proprietorship. He explained that while it was a good idea at the outset, given the thought that ZSB would really take off and make a substantial amount of money, ZSB really does not make enough money to justify the expense of an S Corp at this time. So his recommendation, after seeing the past few years' performance, is to shut down the S Corporation and run my business as a sole proprietorship. He suggests filing a certificate of dissolution with California, and I'll need to file a final return with the IRS, which I can do when my CPA files my returns. I'm asking for a second opinion and insights from AO mentors so I can make an educated decision on best way to proceed. So Jenny, my suggestion is two things. One is that you should definitely convert to an LLC, not a sole proprietorship. Anything goes wrong with your business and someone sues you, you're personally on the hook as a sole proprietor. Also, I would ask him to give you the differences in tax deductions from an LLC to a sole proprietor. Also, if you were looking to get outside investment, how will that be taken in? More than likely, you'd have to change again to a C corporation to take outside money if you were doing it. But I definitely wouldn't go to a sole proprietor only because of the liability issues. And for you to be able to get a LLC is very inexpensive. There's a lot of online services that will help you sign up for that. And it's usually maybe a few $100s. It's definitely worth it. I do it for all my companies. I always get an LLC. And if I'm raising money, then I get a C Corp. And I typically do all my LLCs myself online because these programs like Biz Filings make it really simple to go and do. And the other thing I would do is talk to a tax attorney and ask them if they have any input as well regarding this. So those are the two things that I would suggest doing for you. And I wish you the best. Brad Coleman. Brad asked, do you have any experience share on crowdfunding to initiate pre-sales of a product or an initial product launch? If not, as an entrepreneur, what would you do to learn about it? I have a new apparel brand called Carbon Thread, and I have some initial inventory, approximately $80,000 worth that I currently sell at auto expos and meetup. I was thinking of trying crowdfunding and wondering if that would be a good option and looking for ideas or experience sharing on it. So, crowdfunding, there's two things. One, you either are raising capital for your business or you're actually testing your product to see if people will buy it and they end up buying the product online, and I've experienced both. Either way, you're the one that has to drive people to that site. So it's no different than you selling from your own website, because you don't get on the front page until you do really, really well, and the platform, whichever you choose, thinks they can benefit greatly by giving you access to their members that sign up to see all the new different types of companies. So you'll be paying them a percentage, and every platform is a little bit different. Some of them are pretty substantial, 10% or greater. So I would go and do two things. One is I would check out these crowdfunding platforms. Two, know that I'm going into it knowing that I have to have a big enough database to drive people to come to that database, to my page on that platform and buy my product from me. So if you thought, oh my gosh, one of those platforms has 1 million users, my gosh, it'll be great to get in front of 1 million people. You don't get in front of a single one of them until you can perform and show the platform that what you have drives a lot of buyers. So the other thing I would do if I were you is find out people who've been on it before. Look at their successes and failures. Type onto Google about what you want to do and see what stories you've read to get insights on how to do it successfully, but what others have learned along the way. And I would also maybe contact corporate attorneys, especially venture type attorneys. And you could do that by contacting the Angel Capital Association. You can contact your local Venture Capital Association or the American Venture Capital Association and find lawyers who deal in this area and go and ask them questions about it. But my experience has been that once you get on that platform, that's just the start of everything. That you now need to drive buyers to it, no different than driving buyers to your website. Best of luck with that. Our next question comes from Hotch, H-O-C-H. Should I keep my business partner or work independently? As a nutrition coach, I originally opened an LLC. I had someone approach me wanting to invest in my company and in return own half of it. She was going to pay for marketing, web design, online ads, etc. After opening, signing a shareholders agreement, getting a bank account, she became unresponsive. I couldn't get time with her. The website was mediocre. She didn't commit any time to me or invest her finances any further. She said she was too busy with her other businesses. I offered to dissolve the corporation. I want to just move forward on my own with an LLC. She's very successful for other businesses in a multi-million-dollar company, so I thought it would really benefit me to have the resource. Her response to my suggestion to dissolve is she asked to be a silent partner, adjust percentages of sales, and she could still fund certain aspects until she has time to focus on it. I don't know what to do. Wow. So there's a lot we don't know here and a lot that you can't explain this question. We don't know how much she's invested. We don't know what you valued the company at. We don't know what you agreed to in terms of her investment. Did she fulfill the original agreement? There's lots of questions we don't know. But if you're feeling that this particular partner is not providing the support you thought they were going to provide for you, my suggestion would be, and you've talked to her, which was great. You started the ball rolling there, which was you can either buy her out, and you probably don't have the money to do that, or you go along and reduce her shares in this, or you talk to a lawyer about just getting out of it totally, but that could be pretty expensive as well, or you bankrupt the company, just say, look, I just don't want to do this anymore, and let's just close the company and start over again. But again, I don't know what your agreement says. If your agreement says that you can't do that, that if you did do it, you could not go back into that business again for some period of time, or she owns the rights to, if she says, look, I'm not going to close this business. If you want to quit, fine. I own all the intellectual capital. I own your contract if you're giving this up. So again, the best thing for you to do is talk to an attorney in your area who has done corporate work, not just a general attorney who will end up going to his law books and trying to look this up, but find out from friends and maybe even contact your accountant and say, have you had any of your clients break up with a partner, and what lawyer did they use, so I can get an idea of what I need to do here. So the other thing, of course, is if you really feel strongly about this partner and you think she can help, you can set a timeline for when she thinks she can help or what she thinks she can provide. And if it's just capital, what kind of capital do you need to get to the next level? It seems to me that you must have had some kind of business that she thought was very scalable, because I can't understand why she would invest in just a nutritionist. So there must be more to your story. But again, my suggestion to you would be that you contact an attorney and talk to an attorney. And again, somebody who's done corporate work, maybe even a bankruptcy attorney you might talk to. But talk to your accountant and ask them if they have any of their clients that have broken up, how that was handled, what attorney handled it. I would contact the Chamber of Commerce if your CPA doesn't have somebody to suggest. I would put out on Facebook that you have questions of a corporate attorney without getting into the details. Does anybody have a good corporate attorney that they recommend? And go from there. Best of luck to you. The next question is from Nico Avila. Nico asks, should I incorporate my business, most likely an LLC in Florida, where I reside, or are there more benefits to incorporating in a state like Delaware? I've started a YouTube channel and I'm looking to monetize it in the future. I will most likely be starting an LLC for it. I have heard and read that incorporating a state like Delaware has a lot of tax benefits. Also, my channel name is the Chitty Chef, but I am looking to possibly do other sorts of videos in the future. Do you think it would be best to make a generic business name and then file a DBA under Chitty Chef name? Thank you for your input and have a happy new year. So, Nico, thank you for your fine question. So, first of all, I would talk to an accountant and find out, is it better to have an LLC in Delaware or Florida? Every state has different benefits from doing it. If you think that you're going to make a lot of money, then maybe Delaware is better. I have incorporated myself, all my businesses in Delaware, because the taxes benefits were better. And also, if you get into a dispute, there are laws there that I think make it easier to resolve disputes when you're incorporated in the state of Delaware. But again, I would talk to an attorney, a corporate attorney, and or a tax attorney. Probably a tax attorney would be best. I would find that tax attorney by contacting the local Chamber of Commerce. I would contact the Bar Association and ask them if there are any tax attorneys that they could recommend, and speak to them about the pluses and minuses. Again, every state is different. I don't know the laws in Florida, but LLC is good if you think there's a chance that somebody will sue you. So I'm assuming it says the Chitty Chef. I'm assuming you're showing people how to cook things. If somebody watches you and they cook something you followed and you didn't mention that for people with peanut allergies or whatever, or you don't have a statement in the beginning that you're not responsible for the outcome for people, you really do need to have that LLC, and you need to find out if in fact you are sued, what state would work best for you. I mean, obviously if you're in Florida, you're thinking that might work best for you, but again, go and find yourself a tax attorney and a corporate attorney to find out what's the best options for you. Thank you for that question. The next question is from Kristen Lander. Kristen writes, at what point should someone consider changing LLC to S Corporation? My coaching business is an LLC right now, but I know I'm paying self-employment taxes because of that. Is there a threshold when I should change to an S Corporation? For more detail, I'm a 50% shareholder in another S Corporation, so I'm somewhat familiar with what I need to do to pay myself a W-2. I'm just not sure at what point this should be considered or how to change that classification. Really, the best thing for you to do is actually talk to your accountant about this. I don't think I could answer this question for you because an S Corporation, there's a lot of complexity to those types of things. Most people who do independent consulting like you're doing stick with the LLC. I don't think from a financial standpoint it really makes a difference in terms of earnings. But again, your best bet is really to contact an attorney, a CPA, and ask them their experience in this particular area. If you have an accountant, ask them if they don't have a lot of experience in this, which would surprise me because this question comes up quite often. Find one that does. You can find that by contacting Chambers of Commerce. You can find the right CPA by contacting the local trade associations for certified public accountants. You can also talk to a tax attorney, and they can also tell you, and them you can find through the Bar Association, Chamber of Commerce, or just letting all your business friends know that you're looking for somebody like this to help you out. But again, this is kind of question. It's a little bit more complicated than one or the other because it's depending on your state, depending on the kind of business you're in, lots of different variations to this, and so you have to go take a look at that. The next question is from Felicia, and Felicia asks, what's the best way to move away from the service I offer, healing, one-on-one with clients, into a membership format? How do I price it appropriately? Excuse me while I get a drink. I have 18 courses and programs on healing and energy work that I can roll into a membership site. I want to offer this to people for a monthly fee, with other teachers and healers that I bring in to do monthly teaching. I want to stay out of this. I don't have the revenue up front to pay people to host classes online, so I'm not sure how to face into this. Would tier pricing be best? A lifetime option? Well, I would not go with a lifetime option because you can't guarantee that you're going to be around for X number of years. So I would go with tiered pricing, but I would see what other people are offering in your part of the country, because what you might be charging would be different than you would charge in New York. So I don't know where you're located, but let's say that you are in my hometown of Coatesville, Pennsylvania, which is a small town an hour outside the city, where expenses are a lot less than living anywhere in the New York City area. So what somebody might charge to do that online programming, even they're selling across the country, would be different because your costs are different. Now, I would also find out, what people are willing to spend for this. So you might survey your existing customers and ask them. I'm going through the same thing myself right now. I have Consulting University USA, where I teach people how to be consultants. I'm offering membership to that. And so I've been taking a look at people who are doing something similar, whether it's directly teaching people consulting or other types of business activity, teaching people different things like marketing or whatever that may be, marketing, sales. But I take a look at what other people are doing. I surveyed to find out what people would be paying. And even then, we don't know until we really put it out there, because people will tell us one thing, and what they'll be really willing to spend will be something totally different. So I think that's probably your best option, is to survey and most importantly, go out there and take a look at everybody else, create a spreadsheet, how many courses they're offering, how much support they're willing to give, how long the support is good for, all of those things. Put it all into a spreadsheet, see what it all looks like so you can calculate it, and then figure out what it is per hour you would like to make off of this. How much money do you need to make in a year? Do you need to make $50,000 a year, $100,000, $200,000? What is your financial obligations, and what could you get by on a minimum as you're building this up? And what's it going to cost you to actually market this and drive customers to it so that they will want to go and participate in this and are be willing to pay for it? A lot of free stuff out there, so that's really hard to get people to pay for things, because they see so many inexpensive ways. And look at Masterclass. I think Masterclass is like $150 for a gazillion classes that you have for an entire year. So take a look at what other people are doing and see what that looks like, and then you'll have a clearer picture. The next question is from Dina Butkovich. Dina writes, how do I start wholesaling wedding dresses to bridal shops? I'm a wedding dress designer and have some interest from bridal shops about carrying my dresses in their stores. What do I need to know about beginning to wholesale, as I've never done it before? What sorts of contracts do I need to have in place? What needs to be included in the contract? What questions do I need to ask the bridal stores? Thank you. So, Dina, congratulations on the fact that you're designing beautiful enough wedding dresses that you have people, bridal shops that want to buy them, and you can wholesale them. So the first thing you need to do is create a spreadsheet and understand all of your cost. And that means your time even calling and marketing to bridal shops, what it costs you to make them, what it costs you to go and deliver them, every single cost, your internet, your cell phone, if you're renting office space, every single cost that you have, and understand what those are. And then probably you want to put a markup of 25%. But again, I don't know the bridal industry, so you have to understand what the markup is in that particular industry, and especially for the price point of your dresses. Are your dresses priced inexpensively, $500? Or are they premium, beautifully designed wedding dresses? And that's not to say something that's $500 isn't beautifully designed, but something on a high end that may cost $5,000. And the materials and everything that go into that. So I would first understand your expenses. I would go and contact bridal designers that are also wholesaling in other parts of the country and ask them for their advice. I would find out if there's a trade association for your group and if there are consultants that could advise you on this area. Again, you need somebody who specializes in wholesaling bridal dresses first. Second might be someone who wholesales dresses and goes through the same kind of process that you're going to be going through. But somebody who wholesales auto parts probably won't understand the business enough to go and give you sound advice on that. So those are the things I would do. Figure out your entire cost structure and what you need to go and make, and then contact different bridal dress designers and find out the ones that are themselves selling to multiple bridal shops and how they go about doing it, and try to find someone who's done it for at least 3 to 5 years. So you have somebody of experience who's gone through lots of pain points while trying to do this. And I think that will open up your eyes to what's going to be needed, and will make for smarter decisions that you're going to go and make. And that you might also talk to bridal shops and find out what's typically they've been paying for this. What kind of markup do they need? So you'll get different data points from different people, and you also find out what's true and what's not true. Because the bridal shops you're dealing with might say, well, this is all we're willing to pay. And another person who's actually selling bridal dresses might say to you, if you show them all the cost involved and tell them and show them your percentage, they'll understand that and they'll mark it up accordingly. So again, please go out there and talk to people who've done it before, whether it's bridal dresses. That would be my first choice. Second would be just regular dresses, my second choice. And contact the trade association for bridal dresses and find out from them who should you talk to answer this question for you. Wish you luck with that. Our last question is from Grant Elliott. Grant asked, how do I determine what amount of pay would be best for a new trainer for my online coaching business? I own an online back rehab coaching business. I'm hiring some online trainers to help me grow the business. My company will obtain the clients and do all the admin work, and the trainers will train the clients. How do I determine the best rate of pay for them? So Grant, there's a few things here. One is understand your cost structure. So make sure you put together a spreadsheet that all the cost, your time to train these folks, your internet, your cell phone, your space, your website, every conceivable cost. If you have marketing materials and you are also buying ads, doing SEO, every single cost related to it, so you know what that is, and then you allocate the cost to each of these trainers that you're bringing on, and then find out what do trainers actually cost to bring on, and the quality of the type of trainers. Is somebody who's only been doing it for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Are they somebody who just came out? Because a friend of mine hired a PhD and she'd been out of school for a few years, but a PhD in rehab, very, very smart, and she probably knows the newest things, so she may be the most valuable person. So I would go and find out what people are willing to pay and what people want to be paid. And if you're dealing with a lot of insurance, I'd find out from the insurance companies what they're willing to pay for virtual rehab as opposed to live in-person rehab. So there's a lot of different things that you're going to need to do before you can even move this farther, so you can go and find out how you should go about charging for this. So again, go and find out what people are what therapists want to get to be paid. Find out all your own cost structure. Take a look if there's anybody doing something competitively, and also contact insurance companies and the government to find out what they're willing to pay, because I'd worked with a company that provided end-of-life services, and what they were able to charge if they visit a person live was 3-4 times the amount that insurance companies are willing to pay for virtual. So you're going to have to check into that, and then you'll get a better idea of how that will work. Well, I want to thank all of you today for listening. I hope you all have a safe and, depending on the part of the country, it's cold and rainy here in Philadelphia. I live near the Rocky statue. And for the rest of you in the country, I hope you're staying safe and that you are thinking about Dr. King and what he's meant to this country and what we need to do to make sure that we heal the divisions in the country and keep this great thing called democracy going forward so we can have more chats like this. Everybody have a wonderful day. Take care.